Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Home on the Range. This is a Disney film that you may have forgotten about. I don't know. It's from 2004. It is an hour and 23 minutes. It tells an Old West tale. Um, well, it's set in the Old West, set in Texas, more than likely, because former Governor Ann Richards makes an appearance in this film as one of the characters. She has a voice in this. It's a little odd. I found her in the credits and I'm like, oh, okay, sure. Then this must be absolutely Texas. I mean, it's cattle, it's cows, it's about cows, and it's the plot is essentially the plot that we've all seen a million times. It's kind of save the farm. It's about Maggie, a cow who's just lost her farm, and she was shuffled off to the this other one, owned by an older woman who has a bunch of animals all over the place, all goats, well, a goat, pigs, chickens, and cows and everything else. And she's certainly not raising them to eat; they're just her friends. But like all farmers do, they just raise animals as friends. Yeah. Uh, so anyway, of course, she's next in the list, about to be foreclosed upon, and well, certainly doesn't have the money to get take care of that problem in 3 days. But Maggie, who's just arrived, and is a little bit of a belligerent, pushy. She's a little bit bullheaded, let's just say, when it comes to certain things. She doesn't know any of these people. She doesn't really have an investment in this farm other than having a home where she will not be made into meat, which is kind of a good deal if you're a cow. Let's just say, well, Maggie decides that she's gonna go find a way to save the farm. At least get them a few more days, maybe a few more weeks, to pay that bill until so they can survive. They're not expecting to find a way to get them to not have to pay the bill, but hair in my mouth. But hey, you know what? She's gonna try to change things, even though she's a cow. Uh, did I tell you that it's Maggie is Roseanne Barr? Yes, there's a Disney animated film starring Roseanne Barr. Hmm. And guess who the other? There's two other cows. One, she's a bit more, I don't know, uppity. She's older. She is sort of the matriarch of the animals there, other than the human woman who runs the farm. She's kind of oversees everyone, proper manners and everything else. That's Judi Dench. Yeah, Judi Dench plays Mrs. Calloway, and Jennifer Tilly rounds out the trio as Grace, also a cow. So we got these three cows. Mrs. Calloway and Grace end up joining Maggie on their adventure to save the farm. Like I said, it's saving the farm, saving the school, saving the teen rec center. Usually there's a bikini car wash or maybe a competition against the bullies or the rich kids to save it from being bulldozed by the evil contractor and everything else. It's that kind of storyline that exists repeatedly throughout pop culture and is the kind of go-to simple format for a lot of films when you just want to put a bunch of voices behind a bunch of cartoons on a screen, or if you're the 80s. So there's so many 80s movies with that kind of theme. Anyway, it's you got some villains that are kind of likable in a sense. Alameda Slim is the big bad guy, played by Randy Quaid. This is all sorts of controversial winners in this group here. But he's known for mesmerizing cows with his yodeling. It is a weird film. It is a very strange film. That's okay. That's one of the better parts of this film. But it's mostly forgettable. For the most part, it's just Roseanne Barr. Hey, let's make a movie with Roseanne Barr and Judi Dench, two opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to actresses. Just gonna say, in in talent, in well, I should well, I mean, yeah, in talent, in composure, in just presentation, everything else. They probably didn't have to record in the same booth together or even near each other, but they were both in the film. And Jennifer Tilly, of course, adds that other element of weird that she's kind of the not so smart, with a big heart kind of sweetheart kind of character that sort of pulls the other two together, and helps make the decision when the other two are going two different directions. There's also Cuba Gooding Jr., who plays a very full of himself horse, who wants to be a hero. He's a hero in his own mind, and he is usually at odds with the cows, but he's begrudgingly forced to, in a sense, join forces at some point in order to take down the bad guys that are cattle rustling. There's a whole thing with Alameda Slim that you don't need to know from me. That's going to make you. It's not going to make a decision as to whether you'd ever watch it or not. Again, I told you this is fairly forgettable. It's not. It's noisy. It's colorful. It's well animated. It's 2D animation with some 3D elements here and there. It was still being tried out. It's still the early 2000s, so not a ton of animation was mixing those elements smoothly, at least well. And this does it pretty well. Whenever there's a wide panning shot over the farm or something like that, yeah, there's it's a 3D element, or a moving vehicle like a rail car or a train or something like that. That's somewhat of a 3D element. At least it makes you think it is. I don't know. It's all layered with a 2D element, and it looks all right. I can't disparage it for the animation at all. It has a specific style to it. It has a certain look to it that I don't see normally with anything else. But yeah, it's for the most part, since the story is so standard, it's not like it's something you've ever really need to see again. I mean, if you love cows, if you love old western type of things, this thing is also packed. You know how Disney films, at least in this era, decide that you have to hook the film with a pop song. Well, of course, these are country pop songs, and then of course they throw in the wiki kind of Disney type pop song after all the country stuff gets used up in the final credits. So yeah, it's meant to appeal to kids. Obviously, it's Disney. It's but it doesn't stand out in any way. I can't think of anything. I mean, it has a decent cast. Steve Buscemi's in this also. Good grief. Joe Flaherty. Yeah, that's right. And Estelle Harris. She was George Costanza's mom on Seinfeld. There's a bunch of Richard Reel, and I hope I pronounce his name right. There's a lot of good recognizable voices, but some of them are such small pieces. You're like, oh, who was that? And they had one line, and you're like, did they get paid for that? I hope they got paid something. What's your rate, Buscemi, to have literally 5 to 10 lines total in the entire film? He doesn't even show up until like the third act. But yeah, it's some of the animals are cute. The kid animals are cute, but yeah, there's nothing that made me go, "Wow, that is funny. That's innovative." It's the intended humor is meant to be the conflict of class between Roseanne and Judi Dench, and the middle ground of Jennifer Tilly, the weirdness of Jennifer Tilly in the middle, with her unique voice, let's just say, and that's commented on throughout the film. But yeah, I can't say I'm gonna be like, hey, you know what? You really need to see this, unless you're hugely into cartoon cows, and a storyline you've heard or seen a zillion times. This is not a must-have. It's not something I'm ever gonna watch again. If somebody said, hey, you know what? Let's watch Home on the Range, I'd say, yeah, okay, but do you want to watch something else? There's so much on Disney Plus. It's okay. tomorrow's episode and move on.
176.
All right, 176. Don't scroll too far for that. Oh my gosh, we're sticking with well, it's not the Old West. This is Spain, and actually, we've just seen the long form of this. It's not a cow. This is about a bull. We saw the long form movie of this from the early 2000s just a couple weeks ago. We're now going to see the short. We finally got a short, like a single short. We're seeing Ferdinand the Bull next. So this is, I know this is really short. When I saw this, when I was searching out the long video, the movie of Ferdinand. But we're going to watch the old classic Disney version of this tale in Ferdinand the Bull on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. The short. I'll see you here tomorrow.